In this video, we're going to be solving absolute value equations. The first thing you have to know is that absolute value is the distance from zero. Whenever we talk about distance, distance is always positive. If you were to tell your parents that you're going to your friend's house and they live 2 blocks away or 5 blocks away, it doesn't matter whether you're talking about them living up north or south, east, west. No matter what, distance is always positive. So absolute value is the distance from zero. Take a look on the screen where it says the absolute value of 5. These bars right here are the bars that represent absolute value. Now, the absolute value of 5 means the distance from 0 is 5. -5 and +5 are 5 units away from 0. If you were to take the absolute value of -5, the answer is going to be 5 because the distance from 0 of -5 is 5. The distance from 0 of +5 is 5. So what does that mean in terms of solving absolute value equations? If I take a look at the absolute value of x is equal to 4 on your left-hand side of your screen, we are going to have to write this down as 2 possible problems. The first one is going to stay exactly the way it is. In this case, x would equal to 4. But in the second one, I would have to switch the sign of that second part of the equation of the right-hand side to negative. And that is because, just like we said previously, the absolute value of 5 is 5. The absolute value of -5 is 5. Both of those numbers are 5 units away from 0. If I have the equation, the absolute value of x equals 4, then x could either equal +4 or -4. Let's go ahead and take a look at some examples. In number 1, it says the absolute value of 5x plus 3 equals 7. In terms of steps, you always want to make sure that the first step is to isolate the absolute value. In this case, it is isolated. So I can go ahead now and break this down into 2 problems. I will write 5x plus 3 equals 7, and 5x plus 3 is equal to -7. So now I solve. I subtract 3 from both sides. I get 5x is equal to 4. Divide by 5, x equals 4/5. In the second part, if I subtract 3, I get 5x is equal to -10. And if I divide by 5, I get x is equal to -2. Now, for both of these answers, it'll be a good idea if I actually took the time to go back and substitute. If I substitute into the original problem, it becomes the absolute value of 5 times 4/5 plus 3, and I'm trying to check if this is equal to 7. 5 times 4/5 right here means 20 divided by 5, which is 4, because the 5's cancel. So I'm going to be left with 4 plus 3, which is 7. So yes, this actually works. I'm going to go ahead now and substitute the -2. I get the absolute value of 5 times -2 plus 3, and I'm checking to see if that absolute value is equal to 7. 5 times -2 is -10, and -10 plus 3 is -7. But yes, the absolute value of -7 is 7. So yes, this solution works as well. So both of these are going to be the solutions to this absolute value equation. So let's go ahead now and take a look at question number 2. In question number 2, I have the absolute value of 2x plus 7 is equal to -4. So in order for us to be able to solve this, the first step is to make sure that we have isolated the absolute value. In this case, it is isolated because there's nothing else there on the left-hand side. If you notice, the absolute value we said is the distance from 0. So the answer we get when we take the absolute value is always going to be positive. I already know that this problem is going to have no solution just because there's no way I'm going to ever take the absolute value of any number and end up with a negative answer. That's never going to happen. Now, let's pretend that we didn't realize this is going to happen. Remember that what we would do is set up 2 problems. So if I were to go ahead now and set up these 2 problems, not realizing that there is in fact no solution, then I'm going to go ahead and isolate the absolute value. I'm going to write 2 equations, and then I'm going to solve each equation. So that would mean that 2x plus 7 equals -4. 2x plus 7 is equal to, in this case, would have to be the negative, so it's the opposite sign, positive 4. If I subtract 7 from both sides, I get 2x is equal to negative 11, so that means x is negative 11 over 2. If I subtract 7 from both sides, I get 2x is equal to negative 3, so x equals negative 3 halves. Now that I've solved it, the last step is going to be for us to check the solutions back to the original absolute value problem. So when I go back to check, I'm going to get 2 times negative 11 over 2 plus 7, and I'm trying to check to see if that's going to equal negative 4. Well, here the 2's are going to cancel. Negative 11 plus 7 is the absolute value of negative 4, but the absolute value of negative 4 is positive 4, not negative 4. So obviously this can't work. I do the same thing with the negative 3 over 2. 2 times negative 3 over 2 plus 7 is going to give me, here the 2's will cancel. Negative 3 plus 7 is 4, and the absolute value of 4 is positive 4, not equal to negative 4. So once again, here I should be able to tell, even if I went through the entire process, that there's actually no solution for this problem. But like I told you in the very beginning, I could tell right away that there was no way that I'm going to take the absolute value of any number and it's going to give me a negative answer. So from the very beginning, I can tell there was no solution. Okay, let's go ahead and try 2 more problems. On number 3, the first step, remember, is to isolate the absolute value. Here, I'm going to have to add 4 to both sides. So I get the absolute value of 2x minus 7 is equal to 13 because I'm adding 4 to both sides, so that cancels. So then, once the absolute value is isolated, I can go ahead and create 2 equations. The first equation is just going to say 2x minus 7 equals 13, but the second equation is going to say 2x minus 7 is equal to negative 13. Now I solve. If I add 7 to both sides, I get 2x is equal to 20 divided by 2x is equal to 10. On the other problem, I get plus 7, and that gives me 2x is equal to negative 6 divided by 2x is equal to negative 3. Remember that we want to take the time to substitute to make sure that they work. So I have 2 times 10 minus 7, absolute value minus 4, and I'm trying to see if that equals 9. 2 times 10 is 20. 20 minus 7 is 13. The absolute value of 13 is positive 13 minus 4 is 9. So yes, x equals 10 works. Let's go ahead and substitute negative 3. 2 times negative 3 minus 7 minus 4. I'm checking to see if that is equal to 9. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 minus 7 is negative 13. But the absolute value of negative 13 is positive 13. So 13 minus 4 is 9. So yes, in this case, both of these solutions work. Let's turn now to number 4. In question number 4, we have the absolute value of negative 4x plus 20 is equal to 0. Well, the absolute value is isolated. And in this case, notice there's no such thing as negative 0, which actually makes this problem easier for us because now we're ready to the step where we write 2 equations, but it doesn't make any sense to write negative 0. 0 is just 0. It's not positive or negative. So I don't need that extra equation. So I'm just going to solve negative 4x plus 20 is equal to 0, which means negative 4x is equal to negative 20. And if I divide by negative 4, then I'm going to get that x is equal to positive 5. It's always a good idea to check, even though I'm very confident that this is the solution, I will go back and check my answer. So the absolute value of negative 4 times 5 plus 20 should equal 0. This means negative 20 plus 20, which of course is 0. And yes, the absolute value of 0 is 0 because what's the distance of 0 from 0? 0. You're already there. Hope you found this video helpful. Remember to subscribe to my channel for more help with math so that you can say, yes, I can do math with confidence. Until next time, thanks for watching.